Hey, greetings, everyone. Welcome. Good morning, Dorsey's Resource. Hopefully, this is enough light in here. The title of this video is going to be Must Watch Documentaries Part 6, and this is a Q&A. Not sure how many that I can get into the chat, but I wanted to go over some must-watch documentaries again. This is kind of like a reoccurring video that I do because I think these documentaries are very important in terms of waking you up to newbies out there, people that think they're already maybe awake to the truth, but I like to try to help you find the resources that are out there that are for free, that are available, that guys can watch. I shot several videos earlier while I was still at the slavery plantation, as I call it, the job just over broke, by the way. So I thought about doing a video on the documentaries again. And I actually, this time around, I brought a couple with me. I have at my place. So without further ado, but first, before we get started, I like to give a disclaimer. This video is for informational, educational, and entertainment only. Please understand everyone's individual circumstance or situation may be different. It's up to every individual competent person to please do his or her homework and research into the matter being discussed. This information is not to be construed as legal advice or medical advice or any type of advice. In the event that you need to seek professional advice, it's encouraged you do so at one's own leisure. Dorsey's Resource Channel is not liable or responsible for any misuse of this information. These are simply my thoughts and opinions on the topic. With that being said, all rights are reserved. Now, let's jump in. First documentary I wanted to go over, I purchased this some years ago. This is called Scientific Attack. I actually purchased this. Aubrey, good morning, Dorsey. Greetings, Aubrey. Thank you for joining in the chat. It's been a little minute. The first documentary, once again, I'm actually holding a copy of it. It's been some years since I've watched the DVD. I bought it some years ago. This was a very good documentary. It talked about Monsanto going around like different parts of the world and poisoning the crop supply, like the agriculture, and how they had been kicked out of, I hear, other countries too, by the way. And this documentary kind of covered it. And there was a professor / scientist at Berkeley University that was in this documentary as well. He was fighting to try to bring awareness to what's happening. Because, in a lot of our products that we have, our food beverages, they put high fructose corn syrup in the soda pops. They monosodium glutamate, which is MSG. It's really bad for your brain. It does things to you. This documentary talks about some really good information. I see somebody else in the chat, random view review. Hi, dude. What's up, man? What's good? What's poppin', homeboy? Greetings. Thank you for joining in the chat. So this documentary talks about really good information pertaining to, it actually shows scientists how we're trying to spread awareness, and how Monsanto had been going in and trying to force farmers to take these seeds that have been genetically modified that can cause damage to our DNA and our body. And there's other documentaries like this that I recommend. Farmageddon is one of them. Genetic Roulette is another. Some of these documentaries might be slightly different, but pertain to your health. Some of them might delve deeper into the vaccinations and other aspects, how big pharma, here is another big corporation that's been behind this, because a lot of these diseases that are prevalent that I see, such as heart disease and other types of diseases, can stem from your diet, cancer, by the way, from not eating healthy foods. And on top of that, these foods that are being shipped have been tainted. And this documentary does a real good eye opener that exposes that. I have a younger brother that actually went into geology at Wayne State University, which is downtown Detroit, in that field. And this documentary, I think, is good for people of all different walks of life, biologists in the scientific field, to check out the actual evidence as to what's going on. And like I said, to reiterate, there are other documentaries as well. I see in the chat, how did you get 5,600 subscribers? Says I have only 23 subscribers. Um, it's taken some time diligently. There's people out there. I'm not sure what you talk about on your channel, by the way. I'm just answering random reviews question in the chat, because this is Q&A. You guys are welcome to join in as I go over this information. But I'm not sure what type of information you cover. You do have different coaches on YouTube that help you try to reach. If you have a certain goal with a certain amount of subscribers you're trying to reach, you know, this channel was just built up over time because there's people that have come here that like the content that I put out. However, one of my number one videos, I had over like 85,000 views. So, and I could have probably have a lot more subscribers, but I just wanted to, I didn't really want to go public some years ago, but I just wanted to set something up that was basic to try to go over information that I was into. So you have to, just to give advice to you, your question, random reviews in the chat, you have to find, I suggest your niche or something that you're good at, and optimize your brand or whatever you like to discuss. And if there's things that people like, they will come back to follow your content or whatever. That's a start. And also taking advantage of the different social media platforms. Now, one of the things that I've talked about previously that's hindered people from obtaining a lot of subscribers, YouTube is more saturated and also caters to a certain demographic now, because I hear behind the scenes you have some court cases allegedly going on between conservatives being censored, liberals or big liberal channels not being censored, and YouTube changed their algorithm. Their computer programmers behind the scenes suppress certain content. So that's something that could cause. I actually heard some people have their subscribers even taken away from them because they might not like your political views or what you're discussing. That actually does go on. So hopefully I answered your question so far. Gina Bonner in the chat says, great morning. Thank you, Gina, for joining the chat. Says, dude, I like your video, coming potential false flag or big event. Please make more such videos. Okay, thank you for the suggestion. I have a good friend of mine, and I like the way he puts it using his terminology. He calls the discipline that I'm into, he uses the terminology discipline, and he's more into like the prepping survival culture. I didn't really know. I knew about survival, but I didn't know that there was a whole separate discipline dedicated people being preppers for Armageddon or Doomsday coming down the line, that it was basically dedicated, just like I studied in the redemption movement. So we kind of combine skill sets, we compare notes and things. And that's why I did that video a while back to show in my discipline, it enables me to see some of the things that are coming down the pipeline. And then years ago, I do have a background, even though I don't attend church regularly, growing up, relative would take me to these meetings through the Bible Prophecy Club. And she actually, some years ago, in October of 1996, I went to it was called a New World Order Conference in Allen Lincoln Park, Michigan. It was at their Allen Lincoln Park Municipal Building. And there was different guest speakers that came and spoke, and they were selling books and videotapes, their material. And I actually purchased a book from a speaker that a relative did on my behalf. She said you could either get the book or you could get the DVD. And I chose to get the book at the time. There was a book by Terry Cook. He was a former FBI agent, and he wrote a book called The Mark of the Beast. You still might be able to find it online. I haven't looked it up in a while. He autographed my book for me, by the way. But some years back, I actually gave that book away to a family. I read it like several times. It's a good book, by the way. Also, this other DVD right here, this is pretty old. You might be able to find this on YouTube. I didn't look it up. I just wanted to show you guys. I had purchased this some years back. It's like a short cartoon. It talks about like the banking system structure a little bit, how the leaders of this nation, and it gives some insight into how the banking system sort of works in a cartoon sort of way. Some people can process information that way. You have a lot of fanboys and fangirls out here too, because sometimes other information is boring. Says I also loved your video called Indoor Rock Climbing on my first attempt. Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Random reviews. These other documentaries I'm gonna go over. There was one. It was released at certain movie theaters, I believe, around 2014. It was called Kill the Messenger. And it was based off of an investigative journalist from some years ago. He's now deceased. Rest in peace to him. His name was Gary Webb. He also appeared on the Montel Williams show some years ago. Some of this is declassified information when the government was bringing drugs into the country and into black communities years ago. That's what you get. The rapper Freeway Rick Ross, to name a couple rappers. One rapper named himself Freeway, and another rapper took the name Rick Ross, and he was actually sued in court by the real Rick Ross. The rapper, he currently goes by like the name Ricky Rose, and he uses other aliases, but he was actually taken to court by the real Freeway Rick Ross out of California. Once he got out of jail, they didn't want him to speak about this, but he was based. The story was based in the timeline. He didn't know at the time he was being used by the United States government during a Reagan administration that goes into certain neighborhoods and areas. And this is just a documentary, but it was released at certain theaters, movie theaters around the nation. Like, you know how they have those movies where you can only see them at select theaters or during certain particular time periods, by the way. So this shows evidence that, the deep state or the criminal cabal, we do have good people within our government, by the way, but the deep state, some of you are familiar with, or known as the criminal. This movie shows validity and kind of uncovers that it was a remake, done based on a true story. So Gary Webb, he was a reporter. He worked out of the San Jose Mercury News, by the way, and one of the actors from the TV show The Wire, he played in that movie. I can't think of his name, but I think in the show The Wire, he played Omar, but I can't think of his name in real life. But I hear it was a good movie. I haven't saw it. I get the concept already because I know the story, which I'm kind of giving you guys a background. There's another movie in a very similar fashion. This was released at certain theaters across the country a few years ago. It's called The Internet's Own Boy. It was based on based on a true story, a guy by the name of Aaron Swartz. A very powerful documentary. Check out The Internet's Own Boy. There was like another documentary on YouTube. I encourage you look up information on Aaron Swartz. He was like a computer genius. He led to the way we use social media today, even the way we download and do things. He was like a man ahead of his time, like a child prodigy. He was a genius, a prodigy. And it's believed to be by some people they killed him, just like it's believed to be allegedly they killed Gary Webb because he woke up to some things that was out here, and how like the precursor to all the censorship stuff. What Aaron Swartz led to what we now know today is Reddit, and the way people communicate on the internet and the way we stream music and download. A lot of people don't know it's contributed to Aaron Swartz, the work that he did previously. And he was for like open base. He was fighting like for the rights of the internet and things, some of the freedoms for us to have digitally. Like you see what's going on with the censorship. I won't hopefully touch too much on that if I don't go into that topic, but that's what that movie, it was released at certain theaters. It was called The Internet's Own Boy. You can look it up. Plus there was a documentary by another name done on Aaron Swartz. So big credit to him and rest in peace to Aaron. Thank you for the work that he's done. Another documentary that was supposed to air some years ago on Discovery Channel, and I heard the rights to it were bought up at the last minute because a cabal member, they didn't want it being seen. And I've mentioned this in other previous videos I've done. Please check out, it's called Conspiracy of Silence, the documentary called Conspiracy of Silence. It's a very powerful documentary that goes over, I won't spoil it for you guys, but you can watch it for free on YouTube, absolutely free. Like I say, it's an older version. It's going to look kind of old, but look up called Conspiracy of Silence. And there's some books associated with this. There was a lawyer out of Nebraska. His name was John D. Camp. And I heard he just passed away not too long ago, allegedly. But he another book written by a separate guy named Nick Bryant, who was an investigative journalist. It's not conspiracy theory. This is facts. This is stuff that actually already occurred. And because of what's going on today, the reason I'm going over these documentaries, they will help you provide validity and show evidence as to some of the people who were associated with those things back then are deep state or part of the criminal cabal, are still alive to this day and are manipulating things behind the scenes. But these documentaries will provide evidence and validity, and that's why I'm going over. So please check out Conspiracy of Silence. Look up the names of these people associated with it. You can also do a search on these people separately on YouTube. Look up John D. Camp. He was the lawyer that assisted former FBI agent Ted Gunderson. By the way, let's see. And you can also check out this lady. Her name was Noreen Gosh. Her son was kidnapped. I won't spoil the story for you guys, but she led to what is known today as the modern day Amber Alert system. You can look this up. She lobbied for legislation to be pushed because of what happened for her son. And there's like a backstory behind it. Please look up that information, especially for the ladies out there. If you're sincere, this will really provide really solid evidence, and be very mindful of some of these things that go on today with the dealing with the child trafficking, which leads to also organ trafficking. That's something separate or whatever. But credit to Noreen. Gosh, look up the websites and names associated with these people. This is not just documentaries, but also the names are important. And I did mention Ted Gunderson. He was a former FBI agent. Please look up his videos on YouTube are eye opener. He did work for the FBI many years ago, but after he retired, he helped assist people during this time period back in the 80s into the 90s and early 2000s before he passed away, I believe, sometime around 2011. But his legacy lives on and providing validity behind some of these things that people try to say are conspiracy theory. No, this is not theory. These are facts. And the reason I'm going over this, like even those movies that were released at the theater, that's the fact that made it up. I couldn't no longer cover it up. And many of these people years ago appeared on talk shows such as Montel Williams, Geraldo Rivera. These were like big talk shows back in the day. You had some other ones out there I remember from back in the day, such as the Phil Donahue Show, Sally Jesse Raphael. These are old school shows that precede the Ricky Lake Show and Jerry Springer. Those are like years later, and Maury Povich. But these are like back in the day. And some of the videos, the clips, you can still find sometimes on YouTube or elsewhere websites. So some more documentaries that I really recommend watching is I always go over this particular one. It's called Money Masters. You can watch it for free on YouTube. Also, Monopoly Men. They're both related. They deal with the banking system, will provide history. Oh, there's another good documentary. So I went over Money Masters and Monopoly Men. Also, please check out this documentary called Ring of Power, Empire of the City. It's called Ring of Power, Empire of the City. And this is a good overall documentary that goes over some things as well. All of the Zeitgeist series are excellent. I recommend part 2, Zeitgeist Addendum, help connect some pieces. There's another documentary. Check out Invisible Empire by Jason Burmis. Now, I'm going to go back to mentioning mainstream movies. So I went over Invisible Empire by Jason Burmis, and some of the other ones just slipped my mind, but I already mentioned it. It'll be in a recording of this video. Also, check out Hunger Games. Check out Hunger Games and Divergent. These were released at the mainstream theaters. These were like mainstream movies, but the elites, a former girlfriend years ago, told me that she was aware. She said that they put these things that they plan on doing in the movie. Tell you, And years ago, there was a former movie producer. He worked with Eddie Murphy. He did a movie called Changing Lanes and some other movies, but he produced a separate documentary. It was called America, Freedom to Fascism by Aaron Russo. And the reason I'm bringing Aaron Russo up, he mentioned when he met Nick Rockefeller admitted to him that when they put things in the media, they just keep repeating it over and over until people believe it to prove that they were aware of the propaganda that they put out. He revealed this to Aaron Russo. This actually happened. And Aaron Russo, there was photos with him and Nick Rockefeller. So this actually happened some years ago. Aaron Russo was going to run for governor of Nevada, and he was contacted by Nick Rockefeller's lawyer. Nick Rockefeller's lawyer said, "Would you like to meet Nick Rockefeller?" He asked Aaron Russo, and Aaron Russo said, "Why not?" And that's how they established the relationship. And rest in peace to Aaron, who some people believe that he died or was killed as a result of releasing the movie. I don't know if that happened for sure. I heard he died of cancer, but you never know. That's one thing as far as a researcher or citizen journalist or just an independent commentator. I am careful how I put out information. I don't know that for sure. That's rumors that I hear from some people. So to give a fair, honest critique, however, the other information that Aaron went over is very powerful and is valid information. And there was a documentary he did. It's called America, Freedom to Fascism. And you can watch that for free on YouTube as well. But if you do have the money, just to let you guys know, I know some of you all don't have the money or poor or struggling, but still want the information. But if you do have it, it wouldn't hurt to support the people who have put out this information. If you can find their websites and things to donate to them, and much appreciated. Very appreciative of their work. So once again, I reiterate, if you do have the money to financially assist or support these people, I encourage you to do so, because some people have risked their lives putting this information out here. And this is a reason why I'm going over these documentaries. And before, as the internet's being censored, before YouTube tries to shut them down, I will also recommend downloading a downloader and document these movies and put them on storage devices so you archived. So because what they're trying to move to, just like burning the books, and I heard at Berkeley University they actually had burn books and remove pages because they're trying to rewrite history and they don't want you to know certain things. So it's important to document this information that I'm going over. Some other documentaries. Going to see if I can try to find. I have some notes right here with some of you all who follow me know this information already, so this is nothing new under the sun. But just for the newbies out here, this is an important info. Oh yeah, the documentary by Alex Jones called Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. It'll have like a green logo. You can watch that for free on YouTube. It's called Endgame, Blueprint for Global Enslavement. Please check out that documentary. It's an eye opener. It was it came out some years back, but some of the events that are happening or being pushed today in our current society, it like prophesied that these events, or foretold that these events will become a very excellent documentary, and shows there was an investigator journalist from overseas that does great work. It's a Daniel Estelin. I'm not sure which specific country he's in, but that was a very well produced documentary as well. So I went over Ring of Power, Empire of the City already. That was another one as well. Another documentary was Ma'afa 21. Ma'afa 21. He had Pastor Clinton Childress as a guest on his show, by the way, who was in that documentary. It goes over eugenics for African Americans or Black people. That was a very excellent documentary. I hear a lot of people bring up Hidden Colors, but you really need to check out Ma'afa 21. And the individual, the radio talk show host I just mentioned, used to sell that on his website, by the way, and it's had one of the people who was featured in that documentary as a reoccurring guest, by the way. Very powerful information, and they revealed some things too about Jesse Jackson and some history in that. Like they show doc articles and factual information, so it's based in facts. It was called Ma'afa 21, and I think you can watch that for free on YouTube as well. It should still be on YouTube, movies to their channel. So You know, just so you guys, in case you're wondering out there. See, I try to have a well-balanced perspective. If there's some more documentaries, so I do have some notes that I just want to make sure I'm thorough, that I'm not leaving nothing out for you guys. Here, got a lot. I've got some other material I am working on, by the way, bringing you guys some good material. One of the previous videos I did with the voter registration, about that, I plan on going more in depth, doing a screen capture video. I got planned just to give you guys a preview, a sneak peek, just sharing this offhand. I'm going to be working on that material, by the way, to bring to you guys to show more validity. It's the reason when I do the screen capture videos, when I'm not showing my real face, and I do the screen capture videos, it's like educational videos, but I'm showing the validity behind the material that I have. So you see, it's straight facts and evidence. Okay, so with that being said, before we wrap up, okay, oh yeah, okay, here's some other documentaries. I found a list. I went over Money Masters and Monopoly Men already. There's another good documentary. This deals with a lot of the preppers out there, or survivalists. If you're into the survivalists or preppers, doomsday, there's a documentary called End of Liberty. Believe you can still watch it for free. It was put out by the National Inflation Association. Not sure if they still have their YouTube channel. The last time I checked, it was still on YouTube. It's called End of Liberty. Please check that out. It's a very good documentary. Entrepreneur as well. And then there's a documentary, I heard it being put out recently, about some young people mentioning how the colleges are a scam, with people going into high debt with these student loans, and how it's tied in with the Federal Reserve, the banking system. And there's you know, like DeVry, a school that I actually attended, one of their campuses in Columbus, Ohio, actually was sued, and they lost their case against, I'm not sure if it was class action lawsuit, the people that sued them, but they actually lost and had to pay a settlement. But that was only for like the current students. But I actually attended there some years ago, and I discussed this with a relative and my friend. I even had the college that I transferred to in Michigan, Davenport, which used to be called Detroit College of Business. One of the financial aid reps, she told me this years ago. I can still remember when she looked at the my records from that school and what the cost was. I guess she was able to look in the database. She said, "Oh, they were expensive school," because some people said Detroit College of Business was expensive. But she said this to me when I was in being registered and enrolling at the time, during that time period. She said, "Yeah, they're expensive school, by the way." So they were actually sued years later. But this documentary, it's called The College Conspiracy. Please check it out. It will provide excellent evidence behind what kind of goes on with that. So I went over Farmageddon, I believe, Genetic Roulette. There's also another documentary called Seeds of Death. Now, the majority of these documentaries you can find on YouTube. You can watch for free. Now, some of them you may have to Yahoo search them. You might have to Google search them as well, respectively. But Farmageddon, Genetic Roulette, and Seeds of Death, you know, are good documentaries as well. There's another documentary called Fall of the Republic. Please check out Fall of the Republic. And that was produced by Alex Jones as well. Was a good documentary. So, and I went over Endgame. Endgame is a must see. That was also seen by millions of people, from what I understand. And by some of these documentaries were even seen by some famous people I heard mentioned, by the way. And this is real credible information. But that was a very excellent documentary, Endgame, called Blueprint for Global Enslavement. It had like a green logo with factual information pertains to this day. So I'm going to wrap things up. So I want to thank you guys for joining me. If you did take the time to watch this video, I sincerely appreciate you. Thank you for your time. If you haven't subscribed, you can follow me on Facebook at Dorsey's Resource. I'm on Twitter at Dorsey's Resource, all together as one word. And of course on YouTube. And if you hit the notification bell at the bottom, YouTube will notify you in your upper right hand corner when you check your messages, when you log into your YouTube account. It'll notify you, like whoever you're subscribed to, whenever they put out new videos. So whenever I put out new content, you guys will be aware. So with that being said, don't forget to smash the thumbs up. You're welcome to share this video. I appreciate you guys. Everyone have an excellent morning. Take care.